Well, what's really great about our group is we run a cross-section of all the diverse breed associations in the state, as well as trail riding clubs and associations of the state. And these are key people that are on the boards, if not presidents or officers of that group. And so we've got really a beautiful cross-representation of the equine industry, which is, you know, an $8 billion industry, Buck, with net annual sales of over $1 billion. And it would be a darn shame and travesty just to turn a blind eye to that kind of money and revenue into our state coffers.
The Backcountry Horsemen, the Pigeon River and Beyond chapter, have been working hard to keep the trails and campgrounds on state land open to riders. Well, up next, we'll take a visit to their recent get-together in the horse-friendly Hiawatha National Forest. Plus, the Michigan Moose Hunting Advisory Council had their final public meeting last week. Later on, we'll learn just exactly what their recommendation will be to the Natural Resources Commission. So stick around. It's Monday night, and a tradition for 30 years. Upper Michigan's very own Discovery.
Secret streams that flow beneath the cliffs of colored stone. Forests thick and healthy with birch and pine and oak. Surrounded by the greatest lakes this world has ever known. The black bear's awesome presence as he roams the hills and fields. Call of the timber wolf, the loon's lonesome trill, the eagle soaring high above, the trout lies deep and still. These are what I treasure, the only way I measure feelings that I have for this fine land. There is so much to discover when you're a long-time lover of northern Michigan.
Hi everybody, welcome to Discovering. Well, I begin the program on the Grand Island Trail in Alger County. It's a multi-use trail, and well, I spent the weekend with my good buddy Trevor here and some of the great folks from the Backcountry Horsemen. Take a look.
We rode together on the trail for a spell, the songs and the memories I'll cherish so well.
Here at one of the trailheads of the Grand Island Badenoch Trail, a couple of dozen members of the Pigeon River and Beyond chapter of the Backcountry Horsemen gathered for a chapter meeting and fun weekend. Now, the president of the chapter is Norm Seppi of Hyde.
Oh, we had a great weekend, Buck. We had 15 trailers in here. We must have close to 30 horses. We've just had a great weekend. We had a big fish fry on Saturday night, fellowship. Everybody brought a dish to pass. Then we had the honor of Senator Casperson showing up. It's just been a great weekend. This is what it's all about, folks. We enjoy our recreational time with our animals, and our animals are great animals, and they don't get much better than this.
We're enjoying the UP very much, sir.
Well, you're welcome here.
You're welcome.
Anytime you want, Gordy.
Well, thank you.
It's not like I'm the gatekeeper, but sort of.
You need to get out from behind that camera and join us and have some of this food.
I will. I will.
Thank you, Buck.
I think our senator's here enjoying it.
Get over here. I'll touch you.
Yeah, he's here.
Well, Tom, you dropped off to visit with the group today here at at the Grand Island Trail, and boy, you've done a lot of work for them and for the horse riding community in the whole state. I'm sure it's been frustrating and yet rewarding.
Yeah, the frustrating part is these people have waited way too long for a resolution to the problems. The rewarding part is the friends I've met and gotten to know through the years, and it's more than just an issue for me now.
Yeah. There was legislation passed, but what's happened to it? It seems like the department's ignoring it.
Well, they're saying they're using the legislation or following it, but they've made some of their own changes along the way, and the changes might seem small, but they really were big. In fact, it kind of determined the outcome, and so they kind of went around, in my opinion, what the legislative intent really was, and I know that because I worked on the legislation. So we're working with the department, we're working with the director, and we'd like to see some resolution here because it's one of those things that we the people say there needs to be changes here, and common sense should be applied with us using our own state land.
It seems almost ridiculous with, look at states like Arizona where, they just welcome horse riders with wide open arms. Come on in,
Yeah, they do, and Texas does too. And actually, when the order that caused all of the heartburn with this issue, the horse riding issue, was signed, at the time they signed it, within a week or two, Texas was already starting to run ads in Michigan promoting horse riding in Texas. They were trying to draw our people down there, and probably had some success doing it. I think the only thing that might have saved Michigan at that point was about $4 a gallon gasoline. Otherwise, I think a lot of people would have gone. And we don't want that in Michigan. We want people coming here.
Absolutely. And you talk to folks from all over that are in business, and whether it be groceries or gasoline or whatever, they welcome them with open arms. Come on. But the state, unfortunately, is the roadblock.
Yeah, you can run into conflicts with different users wanting to use trails, things like that, but with all the land that the state owns, we can work those issues out. But you got to be willing to do that, and the department internally has to be willing to do that. Unfortunately, what we've sensed here with this issue is that there's been an open willingness to remove the horses from the trails, or at least shrink down where they can ride, to the point that the folks are upset and feel like they're really being shoved out, or almost like a bias against them. So I'm convinced if they would be sincere and really sit down, we could work this out, including other user groups, and there's plenty of land for everybody to enjoy. But it's got to come from leadership. It's got to come from the top of the department, and the department has to change its philosophy towards the horse riding group.
What Senator Casperson is referring to is a DNR director's order, basically restricting horse riding in the Pigeon River State Forest, the largest state forest located in northern Lower Michigan. Now, the horse riding folks built campgrounds and maintained a number of trails. But the DNR claims these are lands purchased by sportsmen's dollars, specifically Pittman Robinson monies, and maintain the primary use is hunting and fishing, and not ATV or horse riding. It's a pretty complicated issue, and it's better left for another program. But Dick Kleinhardt of Clare is the group's legislation liaison. Dick, you guys have been really working hard, you along with Norm up here. It's really been a struggle, hasn't it?
It's been a terrific struggle. It's been progress in the making. It's taken a long time to... It's been somewhat frustrating, to be honest with you, Buck, in terms of the fact that we've worked 3.5 years on this. We finally got right-to-ride legislation passed. The governor signed it a year ago, last April. And yet the department seems perfectly willing to basically, in my view, sit on their hands relative to the implementation of the bill. That's the frustrating part.
I'm going to ask you that.
And so really what we're trying to do is work with our elected officials, and Senator Casperson has been very much a strong ally with us all along. We're grateful with his support, and as you know, in the UP here last week, or this past week, the governor's been here, and I know that we do now, I think, have the ear of the people at the high level of administration and the governor in particular on the issue that we just want to see the right thing done. And the obvious thing in our view is, why should Michigan be so much different than surrounding states? We see other states welcoming what we bring to the table in terms of dollars and revenues for the money we spend when we pull into town. 5 horse trailers came up for this event. We pulled into Manistee and spent over $500 for fuel. And I mean, it's things like that whereby, we come to areas and we want to spend our money. We do spend our money, and it's a shame to see us go out the west end into Wisconsin. Not that that isn't beautiful, but we ought to be able to enjoy our resources right here in our state.
Sure, especially with the price of gasoline.
Well, exactly.
You shouldn't have to go 500 miles to ride.
Exactly. And Buck, the other thing I'd point out is it's not just about the Pigeon. For me and my family, we've ridden there over 30 years, and that was the straw that broke the camel's back. But there's been a pattern of behavior relative to the taking away, if you will, of public lands and access. In the Lapeer area in 01, there was 7,000 acres. Gladwin, 03, there was 6,000 acres. And then our latest, greatest, largest state forest south of the bridge, a Pigeon River Country State Forest, 118,000 acres. And they left us with, nothing more than a token resemblance of a circle loop trail rides on roads. Well, if you want to be on roads, you might as well stay home.
Yeah.
And so it reiterates the point of trying to reclaim those areas that have been arbitrarily, I think, and basically illegally taken from us, so that we can reclaim the local riding areas, particularly as the economy tightens up, folks lose jobs, and the price of fuel. We'd like to ride a lot of times just in our backyard, so to speak.
Yeah, and it doesn't make any sense to me, really, when you talk to business people around here who welcome.
No, exactly.
They welcome the horse riding.
Yeah.
I mean, it's non-polluting, and you guys take care of yourself.
We do.
You clean up behind you.
We do. We pride ourselves in the volunteer work and efforts and the beauty of these campgrounds, and we pride ourselves in leaving it as good, if not better, than we found it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And in the case of the Pigeon, you guys built a lot of the campgrounds there.
Exactly. In many areas of the state, different campgrounds, it was through the sweat equity of the horse people that built the camps, put in the wells, put the gates on that ultimately at some points were having locks put on to lock us out from using it. How absurd is that?
Real absurd.
Yeah.
And when you consider the money those campgrounds used to produce every week.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, what is hard to understand is the department saying they're making no money through their campgrounds, but yet with locked gates and keys on them. I mean, is this the chicken or the egg, Buck? I mean, come on, let's get real. If you don't open it and welcome people to come and use it, we're losing terrific value. So, which is it, I guess?
Well, one of the excuses, of course, is that Pittman Robinson money, you can't, it's for hunting only.
No. So long as, and it says explicitly in the U.S. Fish and Game document, section 522 of the report, that horseback riding is in fact allowable recreational activity. And the proof positive of that is we see surrounding states allowing that to happen. So long as we don't infringe with the primary user's rights, which we never have, because guess what? Buck, we've done a survey, and over 90% of the horse people are, guess what? Hunters and fishers.
Yeah.
So, is this the pot calling the kettle black, or what?
In the meantime, I'm inviting top administrators of the DNR to come to the UP and explain their rationale in closing these trails in the state of Michigan. Well, stay tuned. Discovering will continue following these messages.